The immediate future of Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is fascinating. It's made, I think, even more fascinating by the last 3 to 4 games that he has had. I'm not even sure it's arguable, but I'll say it anyway. Arguably the best 3 to 4 game stretch of his entire career is happening at the best time possible, which I think makes this setup, this debate, this discussion even more interesting about his immediate future. And I do, for anyone that wants to say, well, we don't know what he's going to do, so why are we speculating? Because I think this is the new normal. That's why. Think about it. The position we're about to talk about that he's in, comparing dollars in college versus dollars in the NFL. Taking the risk of coming back to college to make yourself more valuable versus making the jump to the NFL. I do think it's not going to happen often, but in this world where it's a sugar daddy economic setup in college football, I think it's kind of the new normal. For a star quarterback, whether you're on a blue blood team or not, I do think his setup right now, which is pretty fascinating, I think there's a lot of good arguments to be made. It won't take long for us to have the exact same discussion about somebody not named Quinn Ewers. But for now, it's Quinn Ewers. And I have a good comparison, I think. I have a template already set up that I think does apply to he and his team, agent, lawyer, whoever makes these decisions, that I do think there's a template that sets up pretty well for him. So there are interesting arguments. I can lay them out for you. I've done it before, but I think we now know more. Interesting arguments about what options he'll likely have next season. Now, whatever he does next year, give the guy props. If you just stop yourself right now and give the guy credit for his last 3 to 4 games at Texas so far. He saved Texas in the quarterfinal against Arizona State. I know. The no targeting call was a big deal. I get it. But he saved Texas's season by he and his head coach putting that team on his back, that offense on his back, and winning the game in double overtime. He was absolute money. The guy delivered. His numbers over the last 3 games, because I think he's played this well for the better part of four games, at least. And the last 3 games, I think when you start to calculate what you would do next, what you would recommend that he do next, what he might do next, the last 3 games are driving up his value as a college free agent. Okay, now think about what I'm about to say. I would argue the last 3 games for Quinn Ewers are driving up his value as a college free agent, but not necessarily moving the needle as a pro prospect. And yeah, I do think both of those things can happen. Now, Texas goes to Dallas and beats Ohio State. The value is going to go up in both pretty dramatically. But as of right now, he's helped himself a lot as a college free agent. Has he helped himself a lot as a pro prospect? His numbers over the last 3 games. In fact, the better he's played in college, I think, the more he's dropping as an NFL prospect. In the loss to Georgia in the SEC championship game, he went 27 of 46 for 358. I know the only thing people ever care about or pay attention to is the quarterback. He wasn't the problem for Texas in that game. I'm not even sure he'll be the problem if Ohio State beats Texas. I think the same problem would be offensive line play and kicking. But he was money against Georgia. He's the only reason why that game looked the way it did for Texas. Round 1 in the playoff against Clemson, 17 of 24 for 202. He was as good as you can be in that game. He just didn't have enough snaps. He had a quarterback rating of 87.5. In the quarterfinal against Arizona State, a game in which his team could not run the ball at all. They bailed on the run. 1.8 yards per carry. The coach said, forget it. We're out. We're just going to throw it. Hey, buddy, here are the keys. Save us. And that's exactly what Quinn Ewers did. He went 20 of 30 for 322 and 3 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 91.9. he has been better than he's ever been at the most important stretch of his career, and it's driving his value up in college, but not helping his value as a pro prospect. As a college player, it's up dramatically. In fact, the story is $6 million. I have no idea how true that is, but it doesn't seem that far out. As a pro, it's just meh. If he were offered, if the story is true, and given the economics of college football right now, the out of control, insane, no rhyme or reason, no barriers, no agreements, no contracts, no incentives, just throw money at whatever and whoever you can. In this kind of setup, the idea that he would be offered $6 million to skip 2025, to skip the draft of 2025 and transfer, it does make perfect sense. Seems very believable. It does. I'm not sure how much we trust the exact reporting on this, but the concept of that seems very believable. So I don't think it's an outrageous thing to bring up. In fact, whether he takes it or not, it is the new normal. It's going to come up again with somebody else. So if true, $6 million, let's just use the number of $6 million. We'll just throw that out there and keep it there. That he would be offered $6 million to play next year for a powerhouse program that needs a quarterback, a gap year kind of thing. The names floated. This is by BurntOrangeNation.com. Take it for whatever it's worth, but I don't think it's outrageous. Names floated would be Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan, just to name a few. I get it. I could see it. I could see them wanting to do that. It would make perfect sense. Whatever he decides to do, and I was told on this show a few weeks ago by Bobby Burton that he'll declare for the NFL draft, but the setup is a really good debate. I think it makes a lot of sense. So do the math here. Just think about yourself. Think about the next player. Think about if this really is true for Ewers. Think about doing some risk assessment, because this is a pretty fascinating calculus for a quarterback like him, and I think there's a perfect example of how it worked. So the risk assessment. Athlon Sports has a good story today about Ewers and the comments from Mel Kiper of ESPN. And it's all about where Quinn Ewers, who has, in my opinion, has never played better at Texas, and where he ranks and what he should do next. Kiper's suggestion is that, and it makes some sense, is that he go back to a school for another year, not go into the NFL draft. In fact, Kiper says you need more reps. Go make the money. You're going to make plenty of money. So why not take advantage of the fact that you can make $6 million and get better as a college player? That was his take. And I think a lot of people, when you think about it, would agree with that. It does make some sense. I think there's a weird thing about Ewers that you may disagree with, but the idea would be go make $6 million, go play at a powerhouse, and you help yourself as a draft prospect. Okay? The comparison is this. Bo Nix. Bo Nix is the starter for the Denver Broncos. Playoff-bound Denver Broncos. He had a solid career, but a lot of people thought he needed to be a more polished quarterback. A lot of people were taking exactly what Kiper says about Quinn Ewers and applying the exact same thing to Bo Nix and say, listen, another year can't hurt you, man. In Quinn Ewers' case, another year could pay you $6 million. Start doing the risk assessment and adding up the money, and you'll see why it's not a bad idea. And so Bo Nix then ends up in Oregon, has a really good final year at Oregon. He's then the 12th pick in the draft by the Broncos. He wins the starting job. He's got Sean Payton as his coach. He gets the starting job, and it's a job that he's going to now have at least through his rookie contract and probably for the next 6-8 years if he's healthy. He has a fully guaranteed, here's the calculus, Bo Nix with the 12th pick in the draft, who went back for another year, went to Oregon. He has a fully guaranteed $18.6 million contract over 4 years. He gets a $10.3 million signing bonus, or got a $10.3 million signing bonus. In other words, Bo Nix goes back to another year in school. I don't know if he made $6 million or not, but he goes back, plays at Oregon. He's now going to make $30 million. He'll make $30 million over the life of a rookie contract. And when you're taking the first 15 picks, it's fully guaranteed. The incentive is clearly there to find your way into the first round and find your way into the first 15 picks of the draft. It's there. Because once you get out of that first round, $6 million to play in college is pretty comparable. Think about it. So Bo Nix is going to make $30 million. Now think about it for Ewers. Okay, he's playing really well right now. His draft status isn't great. As of right now, according to what's reported, is he's the 8th quarterback, and this is with him playing better than ever. He's projected to be the 8th quarterback now in player number 128. So he's not even close to a first round, not even a second round pick as of now, even though he's playing better than ever before. So why, to my point, why not do exactly what Bo Nix did? You take the $6 million, $4 million, $5 million, $8 million, whatever. He could probably drive it up. His value's skyrocketing as a college free agent. It's not very good as a pro prospect. Why not? Why not? I mean, I'd love to hear the argument. Why not? The idea used to be, the idea was you want to get to a pro team as fast as possible so you get paid.
Hey Austin, Jeff Ward here, and I never thought I'd be in an accident and need a personal injury attorney. And then sure enough, less than a mile from my house, I was blindsided. I was injured. My world was turned completely upside down. I called DJC Law and their team took care of everything. I got the best result possible. Don't just take my word for it. They have over 1,000 5-star reviews. So if you're injured, call 512-888-9999 and get your justice at teamjustice.com.